So you're looking to get yourself some new headphones, and after watching countless reviews, you decided to get the Beyerdynamic DT770s. But just as you were getting ready to click buy, you heard about the Beyerdynamic DT990s, and people started telling you that these ones are actually a better choice. And now you don't know which ones you should get between the two. And if that's the case, then you are in the right spot, because my name is Andrew Dandrew, and I am on a mission to search this entire wonderful universe for answers to the most important questions and explain these answers to you like you are 5. So let's see which ones of these two headphones you should choose depending on your use case. The Beyerdynamic DT770s and the Beyerdynamic DT990s are some true classics of the pro audio scene. And over the years, they have seen many different revisions, but something has stayed the same. And that is the amazing sound quality they are able to produce, especially for the price, since both of them can be found for less than $200. And even though they look quite similar, they are different headphones. These ones are closed back, these ones are open back, and this leads to a lot of strengths, a lot of weaknesses that you need to understand in order to make the best informed decision. But don't worry, in this video, I'll try to explain to you what are these strengths, what are these weaknesses, what are the differences, and which ones you should get depending on your use case. So let's get started with the comparison. Starting with the similarities, both of these headphones, newsflash, are made by the same company, which is Beyerdynamic. Obviously, they both feature this very simple and functional Beyerdynamic design, which won't win any design awards anytime soon, but I don't think they need to, because they are pro audio tools. They're supposed to be staying on your head and making beautiful noises. You don't wear these as fashion accessories. If you're interested in that sort of thing, you're probably looking for some different headphones anyway, and this is very subjective. I personally like them. And what they don't have in terms of looks, they compensate for in terms of sound, because these sound really good. Something else that's really good about these headphones, in my opinion, is the build quality, because both feature some heavy-duty plastic that makes up ear cups, both feature metallic headbands, and the headband cushioning is also made out of some better than average material. So I think it's pretty safe to assume that these will last you a very long time. And even if something happens to them, it's very easy to find spare parts from Beyerdynamic directly, so you can fix them, which is pretty cool if you ask me. The next best thing about these, in my opinion, is how comfortable they are, because both feature some very big ear cups and some velour ear pads that are very nice and soft. The headband cushioning is also very nice and soft, and all these things together make for a very comfortable set of headphones that you can wear for hours, even while wearing some very thick eyeglasses, as I do. And these ones are some of the best headphones that I found for my head. The clamping force is just perfect for me, but I have a smaller head. So if your head is bigger and they clamp a little bit too tight, no problem. You can just stretch them over some books overnight, and in just a few days, the clamping force should be perfect for you as well, and they'll be just blissful comfort. If that's a thing, I don't know. Both headphones feature some very nice coiled cables that are 1.5 meters in length. That's about 5 feet for my fellow American viewers, and they terminate in this 3.5 millimeter jacks that get adapted to 1/4 of an inch. And the only issue here is that this cable is fixed to the left ear cup, and this means that if it breaks, you're going to have to do some soldering to replace it. But honestly, this is quite heavy duty, and it looks like it will take a lot of beating before giving up. Given their 250 ohm impedance rating, they will be a little bit harder to drive. Not extremely hard, but harder. If you're relying on some very old built-in sound card, you will probably run into issues with volume and distorting low bass notes. But if you're using anything that's decent, you shouldn't have any sort of big issues. For example, I use a Behringer UMC 404 HD, which is a decent external audio interface, and it has no issue in driving both of these headphones. If you run into some issues, of course, you can get a headphone amp later just to use them to their full potential. And now we're getting to the part that you're all here for, which is the sound of these two headphones. But before that, I actually have to warn you that these are bright headphones. And this might not be news for you guys since you're looking into Beyerdynamic headphones, and this is sort of the Beyerdynamic sound. But If you're coming from something like the Sennheiser HD598 and you've been using these for a couple of years now, maybe you should try the Beyerdynamics before buying, because you don't want to be disappointed. The Sennheisers are a lot darker, more veiled compared to the Beyerdynamics, and you just want to make sure that you're not sensitive to the amount of highs that the Beyerdynamics can produce, because you don't want to be disappointed after just having bought your new headphones. And with that out of the way, we can start talking about the sound differences of these two headphones. Looking closely at the frequency response curves, we can see that there are differences in all three areas of the frequency spectrum. Looking at the highs, it's very easy to see that both of these headphones are very bright. Between them, the DT990s are a little bit more piercing, given that they have a very big spike around the 10 kilohertz area, or as you go towards it. Both of them are very revealing and full of detail. This is a double-edged sword, because if you're enjoying a lot of classical vintage recordings, these ones are going to highlight all of the shortcomings of these recordings. Going down to the mids, the frequency response graph shows exactly what's easy to hear with your own ears while wearing these headphones, which is the fact that the DT990s have more recessed mids. This means that on the DT770s, snare drums, acoustic guitars, electric guitars, vocals, and other acoustic instruments will sound better, because on the DT990s, unfortunately, they will be a little bit overshadowed by the great highs and then very nice and thick low-end response. Speaking of which, the low end, the bass is a lot more pronounced on the DT990s, surprisingly, because usually it's the other way around, with closed headphones having a much easier time producing a better low end due to their design. But Beyerdynamic has managed to turn these into some bassy headphones that are very fun to listen to. The bass is nice and thick, it extends pretty well down in the frequency spectrum, and it blends really well with the rest of the frequencies. On the other hand, the DT770s, even though they have the same bass quantity around the 100 Hz area, feel a lot more punchy. I think this is mostly because of the resonance that you get when you have closed back ear cups, and due to the scoop that's a little bit higher in the mid bass. Soundstage is one of these areas where open back headphones shine, but the DT770s are actually very interesting in this regard, because even though they're closed back, they have a very nice and decent soundstage. And I would even dare to say that there's not really that huge of a difference between these ones that are open back and have a nice soundstage and these ones that are closed back. Yes, you do get a wider soundstage on these, and yes, these don't have the widest soundstage out there. I would say that the Sennheiser's HD598 are a little bit wider in the soundstage, but they do have the open back sound, and these are surprisingly decent. The comparison between them is not as night and day as it is, for example, when you're comparing these with the Audio-Technica M50X, which are rather poor when it comes to soundstage. I don't feel like I'm missing a lot of soundstage when I'm going back to the DT770s, which is a compliment for these, if you ask me. Noise isolation and sound leakage will of course be very different between these two, given their different characteristics. The DT770s are great at isolating outside noise and preventing sound leakage, which means that you can wear these wherever there's a lot of noise around you. You won't get distracted, you'll only hear your music. People around you won't hear what you're listening to, which is also good if you're, for example, listening late at night with someone sleeping next to you or in the same room as you, for example. Maybe if you're gaming next to a very noisy computer, maybe if you're having a fan cooling you off and you don't want to hear that. The DT990s are going to be great for a silent room at home where you don't have a lot of ambient noise that could creep through the open back ear cups, and where you don't have anyone that's trying to sleep next to you, because if you crank these up, they're going to leak a lot of the sound you're listening to. Again, because they're open back. Overall, both of these headphones are amazing, especially for the price. If you enjoy a bright sound that has a nice bass response and I would say some pretty decent mids, especially for these ones, then they could make you really happy. A lot of people though seem to believe that the DT990s are just plain better compared to the DT770s. And I don't think I agree with this statement, because first of all, you're not really comparing apples to apples, because these headphones are quite different and they have different strengths and weaknesses. So it really depends on your use case, on what you're planning to do with your headphones. If what you're going for is a set of headphones that you will be using at your computer for gaming, for casual music listening, then by all means go with the DT990s because these will be a lot of fun. They have a very strong bass that will make your head bop to the rhythm of the music whenever you're listening to music. Games will be very immersive, also because of the extra sound stage, because they are open back again. They are very detailed. Of course, you need to make sure that you're not overly sensitive to high frequencies, but if you're not, you're gonna love these headphones a lot. They're gonna make your music sound really good. They work with all styles of music, in my opinion. They work with rock, they work with electronic music, with jazz, with pop, with 80s music, even with all kinds of hip hop and trap and stuff like that. Of course, if you listen to a lot of vintage music that wasn't recorded as well as music that's recorded today, then you might find them a little bit too revealing because they're gonna shine a spotlight on all of the shortcomings of these recordings. So if you're listening to a lot of classical jazz, blues, and that sort of thing, maybe you want to stay away from these. They might be too revealing, but if that's not the case, then you will be really happy for years to come. However, if your plan is to mix and master music, and this is going to go against general consensus, which says that for mixing and mastering, you should go with open back headphones, I would actually recommend you get the DT770s. Let me explain why that is the case. In general, you want open back headphones for mixing and mastering because open back headphones offer you a more natural listening experience, an experience that better mimics listening to some monitors inside a room. And in general, open back headphones tend to be flatter compared to closed back alternatives. But guess what? In the case of these two headphones, this is not actually true. Just by listening to both of these headphones and comparing them side to side, it's easy to see that in the case of these two, these ones are actually flatter. When you're mixing and mastering, you want your sound source, whether it's studio monitors or headphones, to be as flat as possible so you can take the best decisions for your mix. And when comparing these two headphones, these ones are flatter, and them being flatter, in my opinion, weighs a lot more than these ones having a better soundstage. Yes, they do offer you a more natural experience, but you don't lose that huge amount of soundstage when you're going with these ones. In my opinion, them being flatter weighs a little bit more than these ones having a wider soundstage. So that's why I would recommend these. Furthermore, they also have some other strengths, which is, first of all, they don't leak noise. So when you decide to do some tracking and you're going to be using these headphones, you won't get any sort of metronome spill into your microphone, and that could be really important. Adding frequency correction to these headphones shifts the comparison, and I would in that case say that these are indeed a better choice because they become flat, which is, in my opinion, the most important thing when it comes to mixing, and then the extra sound stage that you get weighs more. So in that case, if you plan on using some frequency correction for your headphones, these would be a better choice compared to these. But this only adds to the "it depends" narrative. As always in life, there's no black and white. There's no these ones are better than these ones, or these ones are just plain better than these ones. The answer is always it depends. Anyway, enough rambling on my part. I'm very curious to hear your opinion. If you have both of these headphones, what do you think? Do you think that these are indeed better than the DT770s? Do you have a different opinion? Let me know in the comment section. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe hit the like button. Also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell if you want to be notified when I upload a new video. My name is Andrew Dandrew. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're gonna have a nice day, week, and I'll see you in the next one. The cable agrees.